At night, when the world grows quiet, many men over 60 face a truth they rarely speak aloud. The body slows, energy fades, sleep feels restless, and erections that were once strong become weak or unreliable. For some, it feels like the end of youth. But here's the shock. It doesn't have to be this way. In fact, a simple vegetable, eaten at the right time, has the power to change how you feel tonight. Imagine regaining vigor, potency, and the kind of deep, healing sleep your body has been missing. My name is Dr. Mohit Kara. For over 30 years, I've dedicated my career to men's health. I've helped thousands of men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s restore their energy, confidence, and intimacy. And I'm here to tell you, decline is not destiny. Science shows that nature still has powerful tools waiting for you to use. And I've seen firsthand how lives can change when men discover them. Here's the paradox. So many men spend money on pills and quick fixes, only to be disappointed. Meanwhile, the real solution is sitting quietly in the produce aisle, ignored. One single vegetable, taken at night, can unlock better blood flow for stronger erections, calm the nervous system for deeper sleep, and restore the vitality you thought was gone forever. Tonight, I will show you how this vegetable works, how to use it, and how quickly you can expect results. You will see that the answer is not complicated, not expensive, and not out of reach. But before I reveal it, I must warn you. Most men make 3 common mistakes that cancel out its benefits. I'll explain what those are in just a moment, because once you know, you'll never look at your evenings the same way again. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another tip designed to keep you strong, energized, and sleeping deeply after 60. And if this video helps you, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 so I know how to make the next one even better for you. Now, let's begin with the first truth every man over 60 needs to face. Why nights often feel heavier, slower, and lonelier than the day. Understanding why your body feels older at night is the key to unlocking the solution that restores strength, potency, and restful sleep. 1. Why men feel older at night. When the sun goes down, something changes in a man's body after 60. The day may have been steady, filled with routine, but when night arrives, it feels as if time suddenly catches up. Energy that seemed manageable during the daylight hours slips away, replaced by heaviness in the muscles and a restless kind of fatigue. Many men tell me the evenings are when they feel their age the most. I've heard countless stories from patients who describe sitting down after dinner only to feel drained, weak, and older than they imagined themselves to be. It's in those quiet hours that doubts creep in, about vitality, masculinity, and even intimacy. Part of this is biological. Testosterone, the hormone that fuels confidence, erections, and energy, naturally dips at night, and by the time you reach 60, those dips are sharper and longer. Circulation slows as blood vessels lose elasticity, and oxygen delivery to muscles and organs becomes less efficient. That's why the legs feel heavier, the heart seems slower, and sexual response isn't as quick or as firm as it once was. Nights amplify the changes aging brings, because your body is running on a weaker current than it did in your 40s or 50s. But there is another layer here, an emotional one. Nights are quieter. There are fewer distractions, and in that silence, men notice the small struggles more clearly, the softer erections, the tossing and turning in bed, the lack of deep, restorative sleep. These aren't just inconveniences. They affect confidence, mood, and the feeling of being alive. I remember one man in his late 60s who told me, "Doctor, the nights feel like they're stealing years from me." And I understood exactly what he meant. The truth is, these nighttime struggles are not simply signs of aging. They are signals, messages from the body that something vital is missing, something that needs to be restored. And that brings us to a powerful discovery, one that most men overlook because it seems too simple to be true. The missing piece is not found in another pill bottle, but in a natural source that works with your body's rhythm. In fact, it's a single vegetable, taken at night, that can flip the script on how you feel. And once you understand what it is and how it works, you'll never look at your evenings the same way again. 2. The missing piece, the night vegetable for potency. For years, I watched men walk into my office with the same look of frustration on their faces. They had tried every supplement, every pill, and every quick fix the market had to offer. Some of them had even gone through the embarrassment of filling prescriptions they never wanted to admit to anyone else. And yet, night after night, they still struggled with weak erections, restless sleep, and the quiet loss of vigor that chips away at a man's sense of himself. What struck me most was how often the real solution was sitting right on their dinner table, ignored and forgotten. That solution is beetroot, a simple, earthy vegetable that holds extraordinary power, especially for men over 60. Most people think of it as just another side dish, something you might see sliced in a salad or pickled in a jar. But inside this humble vegetable lies a natural compound that your body desperately needs: nitrates. Once inside you, those nitrates transform into nitric oxide, the very molecule that relaxes blood vessels and allows blood to flow freely. And when blood flow improves, everything changes. Erections become stronger and more dependable. Muscles receive more oxygen, leaving you with a sense of energy rather than heaviness. Even the brain calms, because nitric oxide and magnesium in beets soothe the nervous system, setting the stage for deeper, more restful sleep. I'll never forget a patient in his early 70s who told me he felt like he had run out of options. He was tired of relying on pills that left him with side effects, tired of the constant disappointment. I encouraged him to make one small change: add beetroot to his evenings. Within weeks, he came back with tears in his eyes, saying, "Doctor, I feel alive again. My nights don't drain me anymore. They give me strength." That's when I knew more men needed to hear this. This vegetable isn't flashy, it isn't expensive, and it isn't complicated. But it's the missing piece most men never discover. The tragedy is that even those who eat it sometimes don't use it correctly. And that's where results slip away. Because after 60, your body doesn't handle nutrients the way it used to. And that leads us to the next question. Why do vital nutrients disappear so quickly with age? And why does that matter so much for your strength, your potency, and your sleep? 3. Why vital nutrients disappear after 60. One of the most frustrating parts of growing older is realizing that even when you eat healthy foods, your body doesn't seem to respond the way it once did. I hear it from men all the time. "Doctor, I eat my vegetables, I take my vitamins, but I still feel tired, weak, and drained at night." And the truth is, they're not wrong. After 60, your body doesn't process nutrients the same way it did when you were 30 or 40. The machinery has changed. Stomach acid production declines, digestive enzymes become weaker, and the gut lining itself absorbs less of what you put into it. It means that even when you're giving your body what it needs, much of it simply passes through unused. This loss of absorption is critical because nutrients like magnesium, nitrates, and antioxidants are the very lifeblood of potency, vigor, and sleep. Magnesium is what relaxes your muscles and calms your nervous system at night, yet most men over 60 absorb only a fraction of what they consume. Nitrates from vegetables are supposed to convert into nitric oxide, the compound that expands blood vessels and drives erections. But with age, that conversion slows dramatically. And antioxidants, once your natural shield against inflammation, become scarcer, leaving your blood vessels stiff and your body less resilient. I remember a man in his mid-60s who told me, "I eat the same way I always have, but I feel half as strong." He wasn't exaggerating. His body simply wasn't pulling the same value from food anymore. And this is why so many men feel blindsided. They do what they think is right, but the results keep slipping away. The body after 60 demands more precision. It's no longer enough to just eat healthy. You need foods that deliver nutrients in a form your aging body can still absorb and use effectively. Beetroot is one of those rare foods. Its nitrates bypass some of the digestive decline, turning directly into nitric oxide that your body can use right away. Its magnesium and betaine are packaged in a way that calms the nervous system and supports sleep cycles that so many men miss. But if you're deficient, and most men are, the symptoms creep in silently. And that is exactly what we need to uncover next, because the body has a way of whispering warnings before the real damage shows up. The question is, are you paying attention to the silent symptoms of deficiency? 4. the silent symptoms of deficiency. What makes deficiency so dangerous after 60 is that they rarely announce themselves loudly. They creep in slowly, almost invisibly, and before you know it, you start believing that what you're experiencing is just normal aging. I've sat across from countless men who told me, "Doctor, I guess this is just what it feels like to get old." But as I listened to their stories, I knew they were describing something else: the quiet signals of a body running on empty. It often begins with the bedroom. Erections that were once firm become softer, less dependable. Some men stop initiating intimacy altogether, not because they don't want it, but because they fear disappointment. Then comes the restless sleep. Instead of slipping into deep, restorative rest, they toss and turn, waking up multiple times a night, only to rise in the morning still tired. Energy that should have been rebuilt overnight never fully returns, leaving days feeling heavy and slow. I recall one patient in his late 60s who admitted that he no longer looked forward to nights. For him, evenings had become a reminder of everything he had lost: his strength, his confidence, his connection with his wife. He thought these struggles were carved in stone, but what he didn't realize was that his body was starving for nutrients it once had in abundance. The deficiencies were speaking through his symptoms: the weaker erections, the fatigue, the irritability, even the sense of gloom that made him feel less like himself. These signs are not the final word on your health. They are warnings. Your body is saying, "I need help, I need fuel, I need restoration." And the good news is that when you recognize these whispers for what they are, you can act before they grow into something much larger. That's why it's not enough to simply know you need nutrients. The real question is, how do you get them in the right form, at the right time, so your body actually uses them? The answer lies in choosing the right vegetable and, just as importantly, preparing it in the right way. And once you understand this, the path to potency, vigor, and deep sleep becomes clearer than you ever imagined. 5. The right vegetable, the right way. By now you understand that it isn't enough to simply add any vegetable to your plate and hope for the best. Your body after 60 demands precision, and when it comes to restoring erections, energy, and sleep, the right vegetable makes all the difference. That vegetable, as I've shared, is beetroot. But here's the part most men miss. How you prepare it, and when you eat it, determines whether it actually delivers results, or whether it simply passes through your system without leaving a trace. I've seen men snack on pickled beets straight from a jar and wonder why nothing changes. I've seen others boil them until they're soft and bland, only to strip away the very nutrients their bodies desperately need. The truth is, beetroot is powerful, but it's delicate. Overcooking destroys its nitrates, the compounds that become nitric oxide and fuel stronger blood flow. Eating it too far from bedtime can miss the window when your body needs it most to relax blood vessels and ease you into restorative sleep. Even eating it raw, while technically healthy, can be harsh on a digestive system that isn't as strong as it once was. The sweet spot is simple yet intentional. Lightly roasting or steaming beets preserves the nitrates while making them easier to digest. Drinking fresh beet juice, not from a bottle but from the root itself, delivers those compounds quickly and efficiently. And when you take it in the evening, ideally with your dinner, you create the perfect conditions for your body to respond. More circulation, more oxygen, more relaxation. One of my patients once told me he had been eating beets his whole life but never felt these benefits. The difference came when he adjusted how and when he consumed them. Within weeks, he noticed firmer erections, a calmer body before bed, and mornings that no longer felt like a battle. That small shift made all the difference. So yes, it is about beetroot, but it's also about using it wisely, in a way that respects both the food and your body's needs at this stage of life. And once you know the right way, the next step is learning how to make it a nightly habit without effort or confusion. Because if you can do that, the changes you'll feel may surprise you more than you can imagine. 6. How to take it correctly at night. The truth is, knowledge alone won't change your nights. You can know that beetroot is powerful. You can even know that it needs to be eaten the right way. But until you make it part of your evening routine, nothing in your life will feel different. This is where so many men stumble. They hear advice, They try it once or twice, and then it slips away. But consistency is what allows your body to rebuild. It's not about a miracle overnight. It's about giving your system the same signal again and again until it learns to restore what has been lost. What I often tell my patients is this: treat it like brushing your teeth. You don't brush once and expect clean teeth for life. You do it every single day because you know the small repeated action leads to health. Taking beetroot at night works the same way. For most men, a small glass of fresh beet juice or a modest serving of roasted or steamed beets alongside dinner is enough. You don't need much, and in fact, too much at once can be hard on the stomach. Start small. Half a cup of cooked beets or 4 to 6 ounces of juice is the perfect place to begin. I remember a man in his early 70s who told me he felt overwhelmed by all the changes he thought he had to make. I reassured him that he didn't need to overhaul his entire diet. All he had to do was add this one step at night, consistently. Within weeks, his wife told me she saw a new light in his eyes. He felt stronger, slept better, and even carried himself with more confidence. That small ritual became the cornerstone of his vitality. And the best part? Your body begins to respond more quickly than you might imagine. Night after night, the routine builds momentum. Your circulation improves, your nervous system quiets, and your sleep grows deeper. But how fast does this transformation happen? And what can you truly expect as the weeks unfold? That's what we need to uncover next, because once you understand the timeline, you'll see just how close you are to feeling like yourself again. 7. What to expect: the transformation timeline. One of the questions I hear most often from men is, "Doctor, how long will it take before I feel a difference?" It's a fair question, because after years of frustration, no one wants to wait forever. The good news is that when you start using beetroot the right way at night, your body begins responding almost immediately. The changes may be subtle at first, but they build on each other like a wave gathering strength. In the first week, many men notice something simple yet profound. They fall asleep more easily and stay asleep longer. Instead of waking up 3 or 4 times a night, they wake once or not at all. They open their eyes in the morning feeling more rested, and that small improvement in sleep sets the stage for everything else. By the 2nd or 3rd week, blood flow begins to improve in noticeable ways. Erections feel firmer, more dependable, and energy during the day feels lighter, less weighed down by fatigue. This is when many men realize they are turning a corner, not just physically, but emotionally. Confidence begins to return, and with it, a sense of possibility they thought was gone. By the 4th week and beyond, the transformation becomes undeniable. Intimacy feels easier, more natural, and less stressful. Stamina improves, and men find themselves enjoying activities they once avoided because of low energy. I've had patients tell me they felt as if someone had given them back a part of their youth. Their wives and partners often notice first. The sparkle in the eyes, the renewed presence, the willingness to connect. These moments go beyond health. They restore dignity and joy. Now, every man's body is different, and results may come faster for some and slower for others. But the timeline is real, and it gives you something to look forward to each night you commit to the routine. Still, even with this promise of change, there are traps along the way that can rob you of these results if you're not careful. And that is why before you dive in, you must understand the common mistakes men make that cancel out the power of this vegetable. Knowing these could mean the difference between disappointment and true transformation. 8. Avoid these 3 common mistakes. As powerful as beetroot can be, I've seen far too many men lose its benefits simply because of small but critical mistakes. These errors don't just reduce the effectiveness of this vegetable, they can erase it altogether, leaving men frustrated and convinced it doesn't work. I remember one patient in his late 60s who came back after a month and said, "Doctor, I tried what you told me, but I don't feel any different." When I asked him to walk me through his routine, I quickly discovered the problem wasn't the beetroot itself. It was how he was using it. The first mistake men make is overcooking. When beets are boiled until they're soft and flavorless, the natural nitrates that turn into nitric oxide are destroyed. What you're left with is a vegetable that fills your stomach but doesn't fuel your body. Light roasting or steaming is the key to keeping those powerful compounds intact. The second mistake is pairing beets with alcohol. Many men enjoy a glass of wine or whiskey at night, but alcohol interferes with nitric oxide production, undoing the very benefit you're trying to achieve. It's like taking 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. The third mistake is going overboard, thinking more is better. Eating or drinking too much at once can overwhelm the stomach, causing discomfort and discouraging consistency. The truth is, your body only needs a modest amount to feel the difference. I recall another man who adjusted these mistakes. He stopped drowning his beets in oil, cut back on his nightly drink, and measured his portion to a simple half-cup serving. Within weeks, he reported firmer erections, easier sleep, and an energy that carried into his mornings. It wasn't the vegetable failing him before, it was the way he approached it. That's why I tell men that success lies not only in what you add to your life, but in what you avoid. Small changes in preparation and timing can completely transform the results you experience. And once you've learned to avoid these pitfalls, you're ready to amplify the benefits even further, because when this vegetable is combined with the right supporting nutrients, the results can be nothing short of remarkable. 9. The secret boost: vegetable plus other nutrients. While beetroot alone is powerful, I've found that its effects multiply when you combine it with the right supporting nutrients. Think of it like building a fire. Beetroot is the spark. It ignites circulation, improves blood flow, and calms the body for deep sleep. But a spark alone fades unless it has wood and kindling to feed on. The wood, in this case, is other foods that complement and enhance the nitrates in beets, creating a stronger, longer-lasting flame of vitality. One of the most effective pairings is vitamin C. Fresh citrus fruits like oranges or grapefruit help protect nitric oxide from breaking down too quickly in the body. This means the improved blood flow you get from beetroot lasts longer and feels stronger. Another powerful companion is leafy greens such as spinach or arugula. They contain their own natural nitrates, and when combined with beets, the effect is amplified, almost like stacking layers of circulation support. Magnesium-rich foods, like pumpkin seeds or almonds, add another dimension by helping muscles relax and nerves quiet down, making it easier for your body to slip into deep, uninterrupted sleep. I once worked with a man in his early 70s who had been faithful to his nightly beet routine. He felt better, but he wanted to see if he could go even further. Together, we added a handful of spinach to his dinner and a small orange afterward. Within a few weeks, he told me he felt like his entire system had opened up. His energy during the day was lighter, his erections were firmer, and his sleep had a depth he hadn't felt in decades. He laughed as he told me, "Doctor, I didn't know simple foods could make me feel this alive." That's the beauty of working with nature. When you combine the right elements, the body responds with strength and vitality. Beetroot may be the centerpiece, but it doesn't have to work alone. The right pairings can transform good results into extraordinary ones. And yet, the real reason all of this matters goes far beyond nutrients and science. At the heart of this journey is something deeper, something that touches the core of who you are as a man. And that's exactly what we need to talk about next. 10. The emotional core: why this matters. At the end of the day, this isn't just about a vegetable, or even about blood flow, erections, or sleep. It's about what those things mean in the life of a man who has crossed 60. I've spoken to countless men over the years, and what I've learned is that what troubles them most isn't just the physical decline, it's the loss of identity, the slow erosion of confidence, the quiet feeling that the best years have already slipped away. Nights without rest, moments of intimacy that feel uncertain, mornings that begin with fatigue rather than energy. These aren't just symptoms, they're experiences that shape how a man sees himself. I remember one patient in particular, a retired teacher in his late 60s, who told me he felt invisible. He loved his family, he enjoyed his days, but deep down he felt he had lost the fire that once made him feel alive. When his sleep suffered and his erections weakened, he withdrew, not because he wanted to, but because he felt he had nothing left to give. What struck me most was the sadness in his voice when he said, "Doctor, I don't feel like myself anymore." Those words cut deep because I know so many men carry the same unspoken pain. This is why the right food, the right nutrients, and the right routines matter so much. When you take steps to restore your body, you're not just improving your health, You're reclaiming your dignity. You're telling yourself and the people who love you that you still have strength, that you still have passion, that you are still very much alive. And the beauty of something like beetroot is that it gives you back control in a world that often feels like it's slipping beyond your grasp. You don't have to depend on another prescription, another empty promise, or another letdown. Instead, you can lean on nature, consistency, and the wisdom of your own choices. And when those choices begin to pay off, when your sleep deepens, when your mornings feel lighter, when your intimacy grows stronger, you realize this isn't about turning back the clock. It's about living fully in the years you have, with the confidence that age has given you and the vitality that you thought was lost. That combination is powerful. It can renew not only your body, but also your spirit. So yes, this is about one vegetable, but it's also about so much more. It's about rediscovering the man you are meant to be, about proving to yourself that age cannot take away your ability to thrive. And as we move into the conclusion, I want to tie everything together and show you exactly why tonight could be the first step in rewriting your story. A story not of decline, but of strength, resilience, and renewal. Wouldn't you like to know how to make that transformation your own starting right now? Conclusion. As we come to the end of this journey together, I want you to pause and reflect on everything we've uncovered. We began by talking about those difficult nights, the hours when energy seems to drain faster, when sleep feels out of reach, and when intimacy feels like a distant memory. For many men over 60, these struggles become so familiar that they start to feel like an unshakable part of life. But what we've seen is that they are not destiny. They are signals, signs from your body that it's longing for the right support. We uncovered the missing piece, the night vegetable that has been sitting in plain sight all along. Beetroot, humble and unassuming, carries inside it the very compounds your body craves to restore blood flow, strengthen erections, calm the nervous system, and prepare you for deep, restorative sleep. It isn't a pill, it isn't a gimmick. It's a natural ally that works with your body's rhythm, especially in the years when your system needs extra help. We also looked at why nutrients fade with age, how the digestive system becomes less efficient, and why men who feel they're doing everything right still come up short. We saw how deficiencies whisper through softer erections, restless nights, and low stamina, leaving men discouraged and resigned. But we also discovered that these whispers are not the end of the story. With the right preparation, lightly roasting, steaming, or juicing, and the right timing in the evening, this vegetable can begin to rebuild what time has worn down. I shared the transformation timeline from the first week of deeper sleep to the second and third weeks when erections grow stronger, to the fourth week and beyond when confidence and vitality return. And I reminded you that mistakes, overcooking, pairing with alcohol, or overdoing portions can rob you of these gains, while combining beetroot with vitamin C, leafy greens, and magnesium-rich foods can amplify them. But perhaps most important of all, we explored the emotional core of why this matters. Because in the end, this isn't just about a vegetable, or even about health. It's about reclaiming dignity, restoring confidence, and living fully in the years ahead. It's about proving to yourself that aging does not mean surrendering the parts of life that make you feel alive, passionate, and connected. I think back to the men I've treated over the decades. The teacher who felt invisible, the husband who had withdrawn from his wife, the grandfather who thought his best days were behind him. And I remember the look in their eyes when they realized change was still possible. That look wasn't just relief, it was hope reborn. And so I leave you with this. Tonight could be the beginning of your own renewal. A small, simple step. Adding one vegetable to your evening could open the door to stronger nights, brighter mornings, and a deeper sense of yourself. The question is, are you ready to take that first step and see how different your life can feel when you give your body exactly what it's been asking for? If this message spoke to you, I want to ask you for a small favor. Take a moment to like this video so more men over 60 can find it and realize they're not alone. Share it with a friend, a brother, or anyone in your life who might be struggling in silence. You never know how much hope a simple video can bring. And I'd love to hear from you directly. Leave a comment below and tell me your thoughts. Did this information help you? Do you have questions about how to put it into practice? Your feedback keeps this conversation alive and helps me create content that truly matters to you. Finally, if you'd like to support this work so we can keep producing free health advice for men everywhere, consider making a small donation. Every bit goes toward helping men live stronger, healthier, and more confident lives.